Good morning, everybody, and a happy Monday morning to you. We have another really long video because there's a lot of updates on some stories. There's some royal news. We had the Christmas Carol concert at Westminster Abbey, so there's a lot in here. Let's just jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off this morning with Princess Anne. On November 20th, the pictures just came out. As Colonel-in-Chief of the Royal Corps of Signals, she visited the 3 UK Division Signal Regiment at Bulford Barracks. And during the visit, they briefed her on the regimental roles, equipment, armored vehicles, etc. And then sticking with Anne, a few days ago at St. James Palace, she held an investiture, which was the 31st of the royal family in 2025. William did 8, Charles did 9, and Anne did all the rest. Next up, we have Secret Weapons Sophie, Colonel of the 5th Battalion, the Rifles. She visited their Bulford Camp, Wiltshire. This took place Friday, December 5th. She was there to inspect the troops, present awards, including the Queen's Color, and attend receptions, continuing her significant role with the regiment, which she has held since 2014. She also met with soldiers and their families, and just as an FYI, she took this role over Prince Philip after his passing. She frequently visits the battalion, to support their activities. She also goes whenever there's recent homecomings from deployments, which I think is really nice. She looks absolutely fabulous. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what she was wearing. We are going to move on now to the German president who on his last day went to the Coventry Cathedral and helped lay a wreath there. This was a whole thing because the cathedral was heavily bombed by German Air Force during World War II. Of course, the president's wife, Elke, was there as well. Now, the Duke of Kent also laid a wreath, and this was also to commemorate the 85th anniversary of the Coventry Blitz. A wreath of black, yellow, and red flowers and a German flag was laid by a cadet on the old cathedral's altar, which bears a cross made of charred roof timbers and the words "Father, forgive" inscribed on the wall behind. The president and his wife were shown inside the city's new cathedral, which was consecrated in 1962. A prayer service was held to highlight the church's recommitment to peace and reconciliation. During the Blitz, FYI, 568 people were killed and 4,300 homes were destroyed. The president and his wife and Duke of Kent also spoke to UK and German soldiers. All right, let's move on now to Princess Catherine. Now, we know how this goes. She goes in, she speaks to people after her arrival, then she goes out, gets the family, and then everybody else shows up en masse. You had the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. You had their daughter, their grandchildren. You had the Duke of Kent. You had all these people. So instead of me talking throughout the whole thing, I'm just going to play different pieces of fabulous music and let you look at the pictures and just enjoy. say again, a thank you to Remoulade Sauce. I hope you guys appreciate how much work goes into this person finding all the outfits, if they've worn them before, all of that information, and always such good work. Thank you so much. Let's move on now to Meghan Markle and her father. This debacle keeps going. Now, we have been told by Thomas Markle Jr. that he is stable. He's heavily medicated on painkillers. He's hooked up to machines. He's kind of out of it, but he's stable for the moment. Now, of course, Meghan's side is we didn't reach out. Well, we did reach out. Well, we didn't reach out. I had my aides reach out. You don't have aides. You have employees. Well, let me tell you, according to Dan Wooten, Thomas Markle's family says there has been no contact. So she's a big fat liar. What she's worried about at this point is her reputation. I'm not shocked. Didn't she pull the same thing when Philip was sick and dying? I think she's worried that her father, remember, she had to have it checked to see if the story was real because she thought her father was trying to, upstage and kill her Netflix show, which, by the way, is dying on its own. Samantha Markle on Friday put out a bunch of tweets and said, he has not received anything from Meghan Markle. There's been no contact of any kind. She's angry, and rightfully so, because Meghan is using their father and his dying to try to help her reputation, which is in the toilet. Now, here's the worst part. There's a cruel truth about Meghan reaching out. To start with, after finding out what happened, it took somebody who works for her 48 hours to reach out. And she has not made any kind of a formal statement. And Meghan's reach out, we know, came after Thomas Jr. told everybody what had happened to their father. It was a very generic statement, not like when Catherine announced she had cancer and Meghan and Harry let it be known they'd reached out privacy, which thereby negated the very notion of private messaging, and they did so within hours. And then she wonders why the public rejects her. Do you remember after Catherine's video, Meghan put out the statement, "We wish health and healing for Kate and the family and hope they're able to do so privately and in peace." And they shared that statement with People magazine, which we know Meghan has on speed dial. And when King Charles announced his own cancer diagnosis, Harry jumped right on a plane to see him and then gave a Good Morning America interview. Then they doubled down in May with the BBC, saying reconciliation was more urgent because he didn't know how much longer his father had. But of course, Thomas Markle, absolutely nothing. Now remember, Meghan sent somebody out to see if this was true. Apparently, she thought the 2 heart attacks and the stroke weren't true. And Mr. Markle has put out a plea saying he'd like to see Meghan one more time before he dies. He says he's always been open to reconciling with her. He's never stopped loving her. He doesn't want to die estranged from her. He wants to meet his grandkids and he'd like to meet Harry. And then the next point really touched me. He said he's made a point of never changing his phone number just in case she ever decided she wanted to call. Then, of course, as disgusting as it is, articles come out like this saying that Meghan's father has his own agenda and he should not be welcomed back in by the Duchess. The article even says the irony of Thomas accusing his daughter of leaving the monarchy to make money when he spent years profiting from criticizing her. What? The man is like broke. What the hell? What is with these articles? I guarantee you Meghan's behind them. Now, one of the other things that was discussed about in there was the letter. You remember that horrible letter, that the Dear Daddy letter that Meghan leaked, sent to her dad, and then he leaked it to the press. Let me tell you something. Let me remind you. He had that letter in his possession for 6 months. He didn't leak it until she sent 5 friends to People magazine and talked about the letter and said horrible things about him. He pointed out that not once in that letter did she ask about his health. Not once in that letter did she say, "I love you." She sent him that letter and tried to set him up. And then when he didn't leak it, she made sure he leaked it. Now, GB News is talking about what's going on. I want you to hear what they're saying. Here we go.
Look, it seems like a very human thing to do. You're doing the right thing.
Yes, I think she is doing the right thing. I don't want to be too negative because obviously her father's ill, but it's a little bit late. She's waited till his leg was amputated. He's had another set of heart attacks. He had a set of heart attacks in 2018. And now she's reaching out to him. And really, she sort of waited until the situation was absolutely dire. I mean, in my opinion, there was always going to be a crisis point, really, where her father's health would fail, because it's been well documented since he missed the royal wedding that his health has been failing. It's known that he moved from the US to Mexico and then on to the Philippines, and that really his financial situation is pretty dire. It's one of the reasons he moved. So I think from a PR perspective, let alone a heart and emotion perspective, for me, it would have been wiser if Meghan had got in touch with her father before now. However, it's the spirit of forgiveness. It's Christmas. It's better late than never. And she's finally reached out to him, is what we're being told by her spokespeople.
So remember I told you Thomas Markle never changed his phone number. All she has to do is pick up the phone. But instead, the family is claiming she hasn't contacted. She's claiming that she did reach out, and come to find out, she sent him an email. Of course, the email address she's using is 5 years old. So more than likely, the email was never, received, even though her side is saying it did not appear to bounce back. But she's going to resend her message to a current confirmed email address if they provide it. All she has to do is pick up the phone. Just pick up the phone and dial. But she won't. And that's exactly the point. She doesn't want to talk to him. Any attention she gives him at this point is for PR purposes only. I have to tell you one more thing in case you read the article. She's saying that she's been trying to reach him since the wedding. I'm not kidding. I bet she could borrow Tyler Perry or Oprah's jet if she wanted. So Always Complain, Always Explain on Twitter said something which I thought was spot on. She's out there promoting a Christmas special about the importance of family and love. And when you sell a brand built on compassion, healing, family, kindness, and love, and then publicly push a narrative that you've reached out only for the hospital staff to say, no, she didn't, that's where the problem begins, because it's a pattern. Always the performance, the optics, the narrative crafted to make her look like a saint while everybody else is a villain. But it's textbook. You preach what you don't practice. You rewrite reality to suit the image. You exploit family love as a marketing slogan while you ignore your actual family, and you make yourself the perpetual victim. Even the hospital staff were confused. They literally said they'd love to see her there. Can you imagine total strangers wanting more for her family than she does? And at some point, it really becomes sad, and it's simply who she is. It's performative compassion, a brand built on buzzwords, a woman who talks about healing while leaving scorched earth behind her everywhere she goes. There's family love, but only when the cameras are rolling, empathy only if it trends, and connection, but only if she can monetize it. And that's the Meghan Markle paradox, the loudest advocate for love and the quietest daughter when it actually matters. And let's move on now to Meghan Markle's chocolate. You had the milk chocolate with shortbread cookies and bee pollen, white chocolate with flour sprinkles and hemp hearts, and dark chocolate with raspberry spread and sea salt. So while she's attempting to enter the luxury chocolate market with fancy tastes and bespoke botanical print wrapping, first of all, the price point is ridiculous. $12 for a chocolate bar with weird flavors in it. Oh, and then you have to wait for it to ship. And there's another problem. I wonder if she put a warning on the chocolate bar with the bee pollen, because you can't take it with blood thinners due to a potential interaction that increases the risk of excessive bruising or bleeding. But just like with the bath salts, I'm pretty sure she probably thinks that they should know better. So she's just going to sell it. Eat at your own risk. So like I said, $12 for a chocolate bar. You have to buy all three. So now you're $36 for 3 chocolate bars. Then you have tax. Then you have shipping. No, thank you. All right, moving on, her Netflix show. They're saying that she displays almost relentless positivity, which can be weary to watch. She's trying to emulate Princess Catherine, trying to bring up some of the magic that she creates, but of course, it's not working. And due to the lack of success with this lifestyle series, and it doesn't look like Netflix is going to pump any more money into it. And quite frankly, if they do, then, they get what they deserve. And finally, believe it or not, Prince Harry spoke at the British American Business Council of Los Angeles 65th Christmas luncheon. How far has this man fallen? And he made comments about the World Cup, British culture, American independence. And then he goes, people sometimes ask if growing up with the royal family was a bit like Julian's Downtown Abbey. Yeah, but only one of those worlds is filled with drama, intrigue, elaborate dinner, marriages to Americans, and the other is a TV show. On American independence, Harry goes, it's a new world to me, celebrating independence from Britain, and more specifically, independence from my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. But look, I don't take it personally, nor should you. But it does feel oddly reminiscent. After all, we're able to leave our mark in other ways, mostly just through originally naming places after towns and cities back home. For once, he didn't mention Meghan. He certainly didn't mention any of the controversy going on with his father-in-law. But remember what you're looking at. You are looking at a prince of the realm who ran away from royal duties, who's in the United States running around making these ridiculous speeches for money. And look at his body language. He really does look uncomfortable, because this is not the life of service that he wanted. This is a life of self-service. I think he's miserable. I think he wants to go home. But unfortunately, that's just not going to be a possibility for him anymore. I have to tell you, he looks like he just rolled out of bed. So scruffy. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon and makes a great stocking stuffer, a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.